Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Electric Productions. I'm Jay, and today we're going to be doing a mini review slash overview of the movie It. I just got back from the theaters, and I felt absolutely compelled to let you guys know what I thought about it. It is fantastic. So here's my 2 cents. Going into the movie, if you haven't already seen it, if you're planning on seeing it, just know that the tone for this movie is very dark, and that's a good thing, but it's also depressing. There are some things that the children are dealing with in this movie, and I'm not just talking about killer clowns here. I'm talking about home life, school life that is, it's very, very heavy, as for lack of a better term. It's going to weigh on you. It's going to weigh on your soul just to watch them going through some of these things. And if you're not expecting it, it may take you by surprise. I left the theater feeling a little bit depressed after this movie, and that's not a knock against the film. The creator of the film set out to set a certain tone and to introduce us to these characters and the issues they're going through, and by golly, he did a phenomenal job because you feel what these kids are going through. You feel their struggles. So top notch there for tone. Time frame, 1980s. They nailed it. It really feels like the 1980s, from the interiors to the setup shots to music to you name it. This feels like the 1980s, and that lends so much credibility to the movie itself because you feel like you're almost just watching something pulled from a history book from a few years back. I mean, it's just great. It makes your suspense of disbelief all that much more viable just because of the amazing amount of work and effort and energy that went into making this feel like the 1980s. So excellent job there with time frame. The actors, they're fantastic. They're absolutely amazing. They did such a good job embodying the Stephen King characters from the book It. And I don't have any real complaints. Some people are knocking them, saying some of the dialogue was banal or juvenile between the characters. And yeah, they're kids. It's going to be banal. It's going to be juvenile. It's how they're going to deal with stressful situations, is saying dumb things. If you go into this expecting scholarly speak among kids, or maybe the latest Avengers movie level of witty banter, then you've got misconceived notions of what this movie is setting out to be and to do. The actors did fantastic. Great job in that. Cinematography is gorgeous, stunning. The movie just drips and oozes stylistic, it's got so much punch to it. It's amazing. And you're going to really be impressed by the cinematography in this movie. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words, and when you're trying to take a 1,000-page book and cram it into, a movie or two, you have to have your shots not just be there portraying what's currently happening in that moment. They have to set up what's been happening in the history of leading up to these events, and it has to set up the vibe and the feel, and you can't just have your characters describe everything, or your movie's going to be, a couple hundred hours long. This movie uses its shots to tell just as much story as the characters are displaying themselves. Cinematography, excellent. Nitpicks. So I don't have too many nitpicks for this movie. There's too many jump scares, in my opinion. But you know what? It's not that big of a deal because the movie does not rely on said jump scares to instill the fear in the movie. The fear is there because of the good acting, because of the dark tone, because of the creative ways that the director plays on your fears and on your emotions. The fear is already there in the movie. The jump scares, they just went a little bit crazy with them, and sometimes they even come across a little bit corny. So that's unfortunate, but it's not, it's okay. The movie holds its own just fine, despite a few too many jump scares. And again, that's a nitpick. The other thing is that I felt like the actor who portrayed Pennywise the Clown, Bill, I'm going to mess his name up. It's like Skarsgård or something like that. He did a phenomenal job. Man, did he really bring presence to the character in a way that I'm blown away. However, I would have liked to see him channel a little less Freddy Krueger and let the character be just a little bit more dark. He's doing fine. Tim Curry did great in the original TV spot for it, and he tones it down, even less than Tim Curry, but I would have still liked to have seen just a little bit less of that Freddy Krueger kind of quirk. This is a dark movie, and I would have just liked to see just a little bit darker performance from him. But again, that's a nitpick, and I want to underline that and underscore an exclamation mark. It's a nitpick. He did phenomenal. Finally, the ending, I heard some complaints about it. I didn't really read them before going in because I didn't want any spoilers. I had zero issues with the ending. Ending was fine to me. I did not leave the theater feeling disappointed because of the ending. It was a serviceable ending, and it did just fine. So, guys, that's pretty much going to do it. Phenomenal movie. Go see it if you haven't. If this is your cup of tea, sip deeply, because this is one for the ages. I think this movie is going to hold up extremely well over time. Just know what you're getting into. Know that it's kind of got a dark, depressing undertone, and be ready to enjoy a Stephen King adaptation that's actually good for a change. And there are a couple good ones out there. So thanks for stopping by, guys. I appreciate your time. As always, take care. Bye.